Alright, hey guys, Erin here. You may have noticed that my channel has had a little bit of rebranding done, so keeping it simple and true to me by calling this channel Yoga with Erin, exactly what it is. So I wanted to put out a new video for you guys. This is going to be pretty quick and informative. For those of you that don't know what fascia is, I'm going to cheat because it is a little bit tricky. It's basically a thin casing of connective tissue that surrounds and holds every organ, blood vessel, bone, nerve, fiber, and muscle in place. So, super important part of the body. And myofascial release is something you can do if you're feeling tight in your muscles. It's just sort of like an at-home massage. You may have had a massage therapist tell you to do something at home. So I'm going to just kind of dive in to that a little bit today and just give you some techniques to do with just some things that you have at home to help release some of that tension. That being said, if you are in a lot of pain or experiencing anything that's beyond, just a quick muscle release, you do want to see a physical therapist, massage therapist, doctor. I am none of those things, just a registered yoga teacher. So keep that in mind and let's get started. Alright, so if you're like me and you have dogs at home, it's likely that you have one of these guys lying around. If not, you can find a tennis ball pretty much anywhere, any sporting goods store, Walmart, places like that. So grabbing one of these. First I want to start, we're going to work our way from the ground up. So with our feet. Our feet carry us around all day. They are super important to keep healthy for balance, for posture, all kinds of things. So if you're on your feet a lot for your job, this is a really good thing to do. If you suffer from plantar fasciitis, that was a little bit of a funky pronunciation, plantar fasciitis. What are some other things? If you have flat feet, Morton's neuroma, and tarsal tunnel syndrome. So this little brief exercise will be good for that. It's probably best to be standing, so if my head gets cut off, sorry, but we did this in teacher training and I absolutely love it. Basically you just take a tennis ball, racquetball if you want a little added pressure. You want to start really gentle, so you're just going to take the arch of your foot and place it on the tennis ball, standing up nice and tall, and just rub the tennis ball back and forth on that arch. You can even stop in some places and put a little more pressure on it, put a little more weight on it. Just nice and gentle, going back and forth. You can do this for as long as you'd like, making sure that it feels good, like a release. Any pain, you're going to want to back off a little bit. You are going to feel it. It's going to feel like a massage. But if you have a significant other that refuses to rub your feet, this is a good alternative. And again, if you have any of the previous conditions, if you want to work on your posture, things like that, make sure you do both sides. What I would recommend doing is after you do one foot, just kind of stand in your mountain pose or stand up tall and just notice how one side of the body feels versus the other. Alright, and then moving to the other side, just running that tennis ball back and forth on the sole of the foot, the arch of the foot. Again, pausing in an area that might feel like it needs a little extra weight, a little extra tension, release. There you go, a little back and forth. If you want to speed it up a little bit, you can do that. Our bodies are not symmetrical, so you may need something a little different on one side than the other. And good, so come back into your mountain pose. Just notice how that feels. And again, you can take as long as you'd like with that. It doesn't necessarily have to be this quick thing, you know, it's up to you. Tailor it to your time, whatever you have time for. All right, and then moving on to the legs. So if you're a runner, this is kind of similar to foam rolling. You can do it in any number of areas. So, you know, the hip or glute area, you basically just sit on it, making sure your wrists are, you know, in good shape if you're going to do this, and just kind of roll around on that hip. You can really take it onto the glute, if that feels good. I like to do like a little side thing, just back and forth. Again, this is going to be dependent on where you're feeling tight, where you're feeling like you need a release. And it doesn't necessarily have to be evened out on both sides. This is really just for you as a release. So I'm a runner as well, so I like to do this, you know, after a run, just to release some of that tension. I'm going to just do it on the other side so you guys can see. You might look a little funny doing it, but it is worth it. Oh, it feels so good. So with that, it's easy to stay on the ground with the legs. There's a couple other things you can do. You can put a tennis ball sort of like in here, massage out this area. Always know, like, the wall is always your friend, obviously. So if you have some low back stuff, some sciatica, you can come over to a wall, sitting up against that, and just kind of working that out in that way too. Okay. Anytime you're working with the back, you want to make sure to avoid the spine. For me personally, I have quite a bit of upper back tension. My job, I move around a lot. I'm a yoga teacher, but I also sit at a desk quite a bit with my marketing position. So I just carry a lot of stress and tension in my upper back. So this is my personal favorite. We're making our way up to the top, like I said. And again, this can be done up against a wall. So same sort of thing with the low back, coming up into the shoulders. You can use a wall. A little awkward just to get started. And just kind of maneuver around like that. I don't have a big surface area for a wall to show you how I'm working with it. So I'm going to come down to my back. But if you have like a nice base of support on the wall, sometimes it's best to stand because you're just more supported. You'll see when I come down to my back, I'm just going to set the tennis ball down and then kind of make my way onto it. You sort of have to keep your neck supported. I mean, if you just kind of lie back on your neck, you know, there's room to sort of, you know, feel a little bit more uncomfortable in this position. So up against the wall, sitting or standing may be your best bet if this is your first time doing it. If you feel comfortable coming down to the floor and you'd rather lie down, totally fine too. So again, you're just going to kind of work it out. So almost like it's you're imagining that it's somebody's hand or your own hand. I know sometimes we'll, you know, do this when we're at our desk, sort of feel out that area where the muscles are tight, or you may even have a knot. And just find that, and you'll feel it. Just work around. Again, like same thing with the feet. This should not hurt. It might, you know, feel a little uncomfortable, but you don't want to be in pain. You're just working out the muscles, and eventually, once you make your way through those knots and that tension, it should feel good. So again, you're just going to work with this for as long as you feel like you need to. And you can kind of make your way down the back, shoulder blade area. Just massage it out. We're, again, being really mindful of your spine. You do want to avoid the spine. Awesome. So that's with the tennis ball and or racquetball. It's nice to have a little bit of give with whatever you have. You know, I wouldn't use a lacrosse ball or any, golf ball, anything like that. You do want it to have some give and be like a rubber base. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of that. Really nice at-home massage if you can't make it into a massage therapist, especially with everything going on right now. Other props. So this is more posture and things like that. But if you have some books at home, or if you're lucky enough to have a yoga block, stack them up right next to a wall. So what you're going to do, you're going to step your right foot right onto that block, and your left foot's going to hang loose on one side. And you're just going to slightly, ever so gently, just let that left foot, that left leg, just kind of roll back and forth. That wall's there for a base of support. And you can be here for about 30 seconds or a minute. If you're comfortable, you can even do this on a staircase. So you'd be standing on one stair, and that other foot would be hanging down. This is really good for low back pain, posture, if you feel like your legs are a little bit uneven, good for the hips, good hip release, and really gentle. Not sure how long it's been, but I am going to change sides. Before I do that though, I always do like you guys to just stand or sit with whatever we did on one side and just feel the difference in your body. Good, and then moving to the other side. So now my right foot's just going to hang and hover. You do want to make sure you have a, you're not locking that standing leg. Beautiful. Come down. Feel yourself grow maybe an inch taller. Just standing up taller, feeling nice and relaxed and released. Awesome. So tennis ball or racquetball, books, anything like that that's just lying around your home can all be used as tools to help keep your posture intact and just make you feel good, feel better. That myofascial release, that myofascial self-massage is extremely helpful if you're not able to make it to physical therapy or to a massage therapist. It doesn't replace it, but it does help. So incorporating that into your practice, into your yoga practice, your wellness practice would be very beneficial. And I hope this video was helpful. I know it's a lot of information, a lot of anatomy stuff. So if you have questions, you can leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Share this if you found this helpful, and be sure to like and subscribe to Yoga with Erin. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy to be back, and thank you so much. Namaste.